chapter now. Since we are covering two chapters, we'll go fast and then we'll have some interesting discussion. Okay. So one day, Ruth's mother-in-law Naomi said to her daughter, "Okay, so what was Ruth's proposition? I hope you can see this clearly. Shall I make it slightly bigger? Yeah, yeah. So what was Naomi's advice to Ruth one day? I mean, this is right after Naomi, Ruth has God has led her to go into that field. Boaz saw her, gave her lots of uh, ephah of barley, and Naomi was so amazed, and then that's when she remembered that he is the kinsman redeemer. And so now Ruth is okay. I think I disconnected somehow. I do not know how. Yeah, but okay. So what suggestion she is giving her one day? Naomi telling her, anyone? Anyone? Yeah, what suggestion is she giving her? She's telling her what to go to the field at night and lay down at his feet. Yeah, she says put on perfume, get dressed and go and be uh, at the go and lie down at the feet of Boaz and uncover his feet and lie down there. Okay, he will tell you what to do. Now, what does this mean? You think? What does this mean? You think? Boaz, Ruth lying down at his feet with perfume and all, and uncovering his feet, lying down at his feet. What does that mean? Anyone? Hello, Sister Anne. Welcome, Sister Anne. Yeah, yeah. Any idea what this means? Anyone? Ruth going told by Naomi, go in the evening, at night, go and lay down at his feet when he's eating and drinking and when he's very much in high spirits. Go and lie down at his feet and uncover his sandals. What does this mean? Anyone? What is she trying to do?
Maybe it was a custom over there.
Yeah, but what custom? What is this custom about, you think?
That the redeemer of the family would come. He had the
Okay,
right.
good answer, Mrs. Marcus. Anybody else? What do you think this custom means to lay down his feet and all that? Yeah?
അപ്പു അപ്പു ആ റൗണ്ട് ടേബിൾ എടുത്തുകൊണ്ടുവരാമോ അമ്മയുടെ ബൈബിളും ഇവിടെ.
Oh, okay. I think Sister Anne is speaking to something. Okay. Hello, Sister Mamta. Welcome. Happy you joined. Any idea what this custom means? Ruth being instructed by Naomi to go and lie down at his feet, Boaz's feet in the night. Yeah. So yes, Mrs. Marcus, you're right. This is basically she telling him that you take me under your wings, basically under your shelter, because I'm your servant. And so she's telling him as the kinsman redeemer, she's actually proposing to him that you marry me now because you are the right kinsman redeemer. Yeah. So this is something which she would have done because Boaz being much older, he would not have done that. So she had to take that initiative. So she's doing the rightful thing by initiating this proposal on marriage. Yeah, that's how. Okay. Now, so she does that. She obeys that. And what is Boaz's reaction when he says, "Who are you?" He gets startled and he says, "I'm your servant Ruth. Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are a guardian redeemer of our family." So she's telling him, "Take me under your shelter. Now marry me. You are the kinsman redeemer. Now do what you're supposed to." That's what she's saying, right? Now, what is Boaz's answer to her? Anyone? Why does he not say, "Yes, great, praise the Lord, my answer prayers have been answered"? What does he do? What does he do? What is his response? Anyone? Mrs. Marcus, Sister Anne, Sano, Mrs. Jacob, Sister Mamta, anyone? Yeah?
He said you can stay here for the night, but
Uh,
he said there's another one who's more closely related to
correct.
Ruth than him. So if that
Right,
redeem
right.
good, otherwise he will redeem me.
Right. Yeah. So, what does it tell us about Boaz's character? Like, he could have easily pounced upon her. He could have easily said, "Yes, finally you have come to me," or he could have just taken that opportunity, exploited her, at that time, or he could have just said, "Okay, fine, let's get married. I'm ready for it." What does it tell us about Boaz's character? Anyone?
A kind man, understanding,
Yeah, Mrs. Marcus?
a man of character and a kind person who knew the laws and all. So he didn't
Okay.
want to interfere in this one. But there was a person who had the right to take her. So maybe because of that, or
Yeah. No, I'm asking what kind of a person he is. A
He's a
noble
man
character, correct.
of
He's noble. He's very honest.
integrity.
Yeah. Integrity.
Integrity.
Okay, we can say it's integrity is very. He doesn't, even though he's drunk, he doesn't. He knows his place. Quite amazing, isn't it? When you're drunk, or when you're highly emotional, you're sometimes angry, or you're full of desires, people lose their place, but he is very much, even in that state, he is this. Now, it's what makes this really extraordinary is that this was a time of Book of Judges. And what was that time of? This is happening during the Book of Judges. What kind of a time was that? What? Yeah.
what kind?
What kind of a time was that? This is happening during the period of Book of Judges. What kind of people were there in Israel at that time? Anyone? They were godless people, sexually immoral. You remember the story of that priest, the concubine? Yeah. So people did whatever they. It was a very fallen time, but here is a man who's not affected by his culture, by his times. He's God fearing. He's holy. That's what makes it, isn't it? So, what does this tell us about Christian living to us today? What is Boaz's example tells us about Christian living? Anyone?
That we have to do the right thing
Yeah, we
always.
have to do the right thing. Yeah,
It's easy and to give in to emotions and other things, we have to still.
yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Yeah. Everybody's doing it, so why can't I? Isn't it? That is something we always do. We always do that. We can become worldly because everybody around him was sexually immoral. But look at him. He is holy, he is righteous. He was not following the crowd. He was not looking at his neighbors, his relatives. He was very much, God fearing and devout. Yes, but the world needn't be in us. Yes, excellent. Very well put, Sister Anne, on the chat. We can be in the world, but we shouldn't let the world be inside of us. Very nice. Yeah, great quote. Okay. Now, so that's what it is. Yeah, so really amazing, huh? Now, why does he tell her to stay there for the night? He says, stay here for the night. And in the morning, you get up, maybe before everybody.
Must not be easy to go back to
It must not have been easy. Yeah.
home.
Yeah.
Concerning of her safety.
Concern of her safety, excellent. That was true because he was always very protective about her, even in the beginning, telling anything else.
He
Stay
didn't
here for
want
the
anyone
night.
to see her.
Pardon?
He did not want anyone to see her there.
Yes, he did not want anyone to see her because, he gets up in the morning, early morning, before people can recognize anyone. That's what, yeah.
Mm.
So that's very true. He was very cautious about reputation, honor of her
Mm.
and his too. And also he did not want the other redeemer to come to know that she may have come here and proposed marriage or something like that. So he was trying to be very, very protective, not just of her physically, but also the reputation. So amazing Boaz's life and character is. Okay. Now, no one must know that a woman came with the. So he gives a grain and then he tells her to go away, right? Now, that's what we see. 6 measures of barley is placed, and then she went back to town. So no, Naomi again wonders, second time, how did it go, my daughter? How was it? Yeah. Then
Mhm.
Ruth, then she told everything was is done. He says that she's agreed, but he says that first let the Redeemer do. But if he doesn't, I will do my part. Now, one thing he mentions here, which is he says, all the people of my town know that you're a woman of noble character. So, what does it tell us about Ruth, like Ruth, and what does this tell us about Ruth?
But she was so young and a widow, but still she kept herself safe,
See?
and she was young, and still she could have gone for young men also.
Right, right.
But
She could
then,
have gone for young men also, yes.
mm,
Anything else? She was also very godly.
and she listened to her mother-in-law. Whatever she said, she did
Yes, yes.
without
Okay,
questioning her.
okay. Anything else about Ruth we learned from this episode, this encounter with Boaz? So she was humble, obedient. Anything else?
She listened to Boaz. She did not try to change his mind somehow. No?
Yeah, okay, okay. She listened to Boaz. Yeah, fine, fine. Yeah. So she had a very good, by the time she has lived there, even those few months, she had developed an excellent reputation. Everybody in the town was amazed with her life, her sacrifice for a mother in law. She says, all the people call you woman of noble character. In fact, the Hebrew word here means bravery, valor. Yeah. So that was very courageous for her to come with Naomi, knowing there was no hope because Naomi had no man, and yet she came, right? Okay, so she lay at his feet and then he goes back. All right, now thus he went back to town. Okay, okay, now, okay, and this is what happens. So now Naomi says, wait, my daughter in law, until you find out what happens, for the man will not rest until the matter is settled today. So now Naomi is uh, saying that, okay, great, excellent, this is great development. So now who has planned all this?
God's plan.
Huh?
God's
Yeah,
plan.
yeah, God's plan, but in the story, who has planned it? God is in the background, definitely. Who has planned all this?
Mother-in-law, Naomi.
Yeah, the mother-in-law, Naomi. Correct, correct,
Mm.
correct. It is the mother-in-law, Naomi, his plan. Now, how is Naomi different from the previous chapters to this Naomi? What has changed about Naomi? You remember when she comes back and hello Ronak, welcome. Yeah. So what has changed about Naomi here in this chapter from the last chapter when she was, saying, I am without hope and all that. How does she appear to you in this chapter? She makes the plan. She tells Ruth, get up now, go early morning, go late in the evening, put on your best perfume and go and lie down at his feet, remove sandals. Yeah.
Like she was a woman with a purpose. She had a plan.
Now she had a plan. Yeah, excellent. Anything else?
And she was determined to get it done.
Yeah, she was determined to get it in. Correct. Yeah. Yeah, there is some answer on the chat. Okay. Right. Okay. Anything else? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Huh?
Yeah, before she was depressed and he
Yes.
was not able to see any possibility anywhere. Now,
Yes.
and she can see some silver linings of it.
Correct. Now she's getting excited and ready now. She's participating in God's plan now. Come on, she's now trying to move in that. She's understood now that God is leading me somewhere, and now she's, so that's very important, right? Hope and then being participating in that. Sometimes we can just want everything for God, but God also wants us to participate in His plan. God will do some bit, He wants us to do a bit. So there she's now directing His. So she's initiated this, okay? Now she's given that signal to Boaz. Boaz probably had no idea that a girl so younger would come. Now, basically, let me tell you that the structure of this marriage was how it was, that God had planned that when a woman becomes a widow, she is not left alone. That she has to be married within the family and the plan. And so it was so that if the husband dies, the immediate person to marry would be the brother. But if the brother is also dead, which was in this case also because Ruth's brother-in-law was also dead, then the next person to marry would be the uncle. Okay, I think it's probably the father's. The father's brother or yeah, something. The uncle would be there. I do not know, but it's just written that uncle. And then if the uncle is unwilling or uncle has also died, then comes to the cousin brother. So probably it looks like he could have been the uncle. He was probably Elimelech's time, either the first, but then there was another kinsman redeemer, so who was closer to the family. Obviously, he was not his brother because this brother was dead, right? Malon and Kilion. So it was probably this maybe Boaz was age-wise uncle, so maybe it was the first uncle and the second uncle, something like that, probably. So that's what he was giving it to the kinsman redeemer. Yeah, that's how. So the family name continues, Elimelech's names continues, household continues. That's what it was. Okay, right. So now, what does Boaz do? Where does he go? And whom does he take along with him? To the gate.
Town gate.
Town gate. Yeah. What does the town gate look like?
A place where people would gather.
Correct. Yeah. People would
Discuss
gather.
things.
Yeah. Right.
Discuss mainly a meeting place for common
Yes,
meeting
excellent.
place.
Good instinct. Good instinct. It was a place to gather, to discuss important subjects. It was like a community center. It was also like a courthouse where important decisions were taken. So, why do you think 10 elders he took along? So, he went over there and took 10 elders of the town.
Because the person who was supposed to be the redeemer, he would also come to the same place, no? And he would get a chance to meet Jesus.
Correct. So, it looks like it was the number of elders required to take the decision. So he's taking these 10 elders to to preside over the meeting, and the guardian redeemer is also called. Now, what is the guardian's redeemer reaction when it is said that Naomi is selling the land, and then you will have to, would you be willing to redeem it? What is his first answer and what is his second answer? Why is this? What is the redeemer's kinsman redeemer says the first time? Is he ready to redeem? When he says that you have the right over Elimelech's property now, one second, I'm sorry. I think this is going little, yeah. So in front of the elders, he tells her, would you redeem it? Naomi has come to Moab and now this property, you need to basically, the kinsman redeemer is supposed to buy the property, and that's how, not allow them to become slaves to anybody, and take them into their household. And women were attached to the property. Please remember that. What is his reaction? What is his first answer? The kinsman redeemer. Anyone? Is he ready for it?
Yeah, he was ready in the beginning.
Then why does
I will redeem it.
Why does he backtrack? Why does he back?
He has to take Naomi's their house name, their ancestral name or something.
Correct. So what is happening is, no, anybody else, what's the answer? Why does he suddenly gets rattled when Boaz tells him something? He changes his decision. Sorry, I cannot take it.
He had to, if he marries then no, he will have to marry the widow also if he claims to be the redeemer.
Yeah. Right. He has to then marry Ruth the Moabite. And so if he has children from Ruth, then basically not only will those children have inheritance right, they will not only have the rights over his own, not only Elimelech's property in the future, but also they can claim a right over his own property. So you understand. So his other children or will not probably, get. So it will not stay. So he's thinking his property is going to be his own property will be at risk if he gets married to Ruth. That's what we see here. Yeah. So not only will he his child from Ruth have a claim on Elimelech's property, but also on his own property. So that's his danger that way. Yeah. So he then says no. Then what does he do? What is how does he transfer the right to Boaz? Saying, okay, I cannot do it, you do it now. What does he do? What is the gesture? Anyone? Hello, Sister Annika, Ronak, welcome. Yeah. Huh? How does he pass the right? What gesture does?
Yeah, they exchange shoes.
Yeah. Correct. So he took off his sandal and gave it to Boaz, saying that I'm passing on my right to you. So that was the custom. Okay, that is what, yeah, that, like a way of saying that, okay, I cannot do it. You have now passing on the right. Okay. So now Boaz opens his voice and tells everybody that what does he declare now in front of everyone? What does he declare now? The elders and all the people at the gate.
That he's got property from Naomi of Elimelech, Kilon, and Mahon, and also acquired Ruth the Moabite.
Correct, correct. So now he says that now officially in front of, I've done what is needful. I've openly told this person, but since he's not willing to take this, his own inheritance at risk, I am now taking the responsibility. I'm in redeeming them. So that's how he does it. Okay, right. And now, uh, how do you? Okay, so okay, that's the okay. We'll just move on. There's some good questions to discuss in the end. How do the people in the town respond to now Boaz saying, "I will redeem"? Boaz's decision. He takes the responsibility. So how do the people at the town gate respond?
They say that they are the witnesses.
They
They are the witness. They accept that they are the witness.
correct.
The Lord make the woman who's coming into your house like Rachel. And they bless also.
Okay, they
Ruth,
bless also. What? How? In what way they bless?
that like Rachel and Leah
Okay. So why do you
together
think
to
they took
become the house of Israel.
right? Why do you think they took the name of Rachel and Leah? Rachel and Leah.
Because through them the tribes came, no? The 12
Yeah,
tribes.
but they are blessing using the name of Rachel and Leah. What was extraordinary about Rachel and Leah? May like Rachel and Leah. What is so extraordinary about Rachel and Leah? Anyone?
They build the house of Israel.
They? Yes, correct. I think there's some echo coming when Sister Anne opens the mic somehow. Yeah, but it's okay. You can still answer quickly. So yes, that's very very true. Their children were made up the tribe of Israel. No, that's how it was. And so that's the blessing given, and also their wombs, they were barren, and God opened their womb. That's how. All right. Now we also see that she uses the name of Perez, whom Tamar. Now she uses the name of Tamar here also. Tamar bore to Judah. Why Tamar is mentioned here? What is so extraordinary about Tamar? Anyone?
Ah, she married, not she married. All the brothers died and the father-in-law,
Yes.
she bore a
Correct. Yeah.
child. So
Yeah, she had a child. He deceived her father-in-law into giving her a child. Yeah. So basically, what Tamar did was her responsibility of keeping the family name alive by producing a son. She fulfilled her responsibility. So Ruth was also basically like Tamar. She is being blessed that you will keep the name of Elimelech alive now by being with Boaz. So that's the blessings. That's the levirate marriage. Basically, the widow then is passed on and she marries another member in the family. So the same way, that's why the blessing of Tamar is given to. Very interesting. Okay, okay now. So finally, what is now? Okay, I think we come almost to the end. Okay. So now what is the final outcome now? What is the end in the story? How does the picture now completely change? What happens next? So all the town people bless. What happens next? They give their permission. What happened? What is the end of the story now? How does the story end?
he marries her, no?
Yeah, he marries her, and what happens?
And then there's a child.
She
They have a son.
There's a child. Okay, anything more to this? Then okay, she marries, she has a child, but anything more is mentioned over here that makes it
He
really
was,
very
and they named him Obed, who was the father of Jesse, the father of David.
correct. Correct. Yeah. All right. Okay. Anybody else? Anything else? Yeah. So why is David's name mentioned here? Yeah. Because David was a king, right? David was one of the greatest king. So just to show the honor, okay. Now remember, in the book of Judges, there was no king, and so now here it is that okay, now how the Lord is preparing the way for a king. That's basically what is told, how the Lord led people of Israel ahead. Okay, now one thing I want to now ask you. This whole yes gets us sad, yes. Now this whole episode of this whole episode of Ruth and Naomi, Ruth and Boaz being so obedient and doing everything according to their custom and fulfilling their responsibilities. Like Ruth listens to her mother-in-law. She follows her. She commits to her. And whatever she does, she tells. She goes lies at his feet, and then whatever Boaz says she does comes back. Yeah, and that's what. And then even when he kinsman redeemer, then Boaz also is very honorable. He also basically does not take advantage of her. Actually says, no, wait, we have to first check with this kinsman redeemer. And then next day he goes to the gate, but not that he's taking this decision alone. He gathers the town people, he takes 10 elders, and in front of them, very openly, he asks the kinsman redeemer, would you like to redeem? And then that's what is and then when he says no, then he takes it. So what are the qualities of Ruth and Boaz here that comes to your attention? What kind of a people were both of them? Ruth needed Boaz. Boaz also was impressed with Ruth. They could have just gone ahead alone if they wanted. But what is the quality that we see about here, both of them?
Through David,
Huh?
Jesus was from the line of David, no?
Yeah, that definitely is there. But about these two people, how they behaved throughout this process. Yeah, there is an answer. Yeah, they waited on the Lord, no rushing, no anxiety. True, but what else did they do? Okay, anyone? Mary, Ronak, Anaka, Mrs. Jacob, Sano, yeah, Mr. Mamta, and yeah. What did they do? Did they break any rules? Did they disregard the community, the customs? Yes, they were obedient to the culture of the society. Very good answer. They were obedient to the customs, that they were obedient to the law of God. Yeah. And please remember, this was obedience in the times of no obedience, in the times of immorality. Everybody did what was right in his or her eyes. Yeah. Now, how do you think that's different from how some people live today in today's time, even Christians? Let's Okay, let me ask you, let me ask you differently, how is the union coming together of Boaz and Ruth different from some of the young Christians, how they get married to one another sometimes? What's the difference in the modern society when a young man and girl they want to get married, and how is this marriage different from this marriage? Yes. Anyone? Yeah. How are marriages taking place in modern times between individuals and this particular marriage? How it happens? What's the difference? Anyone? No? Is it a
They
tough
will,
question? Huh?
I mean, they will see the how rich the person is or what is the logistics.
No, even Boaz was rich.
No, I'm saying in
That's,
the modern world.
yeah, in the modern world, okay.
They don't bother about laws and orders or judge.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, desires, monitor. Yeah. Today, there is no sensitivity towards following customs, laws, obedience. They don't worry about what elders have to say, isn't it?
Hmm.
I'm in love. That's what matters. I'm going to marry. Yeah. So that's how they're very, very individualistic. Okay. It may be sometimes good in their own way, like even Tamar was very daring. She broke the rules because nobody was willing. Had she submitted to her father in law, she would have never got it. Okay, maybe sometimes it's true, but if you just compare today, what is our culture and our times leaning to? How are we? Are we individualistic or community minded? Do we care about other people? Yeah, right. Yes, so that's very, very important. So, do you think God works even through sometimes these customs and cultures and community and elders blessing and women blessing? Do you think God is present in that also sometimes? Yeah, okay. All right. Okay. So it's very important here too, maybe because we are becoming increasingly individualistic, we like to break rules. It's important. I'm not saying it's always true to think about what other peoples are saying, approval of elders and all. Sometimes it can be like there's a story in the Bible also about Tamar. But here in the story, it is telling us that especially because our culture and our times are leaning towards individualistic living, it's very important to think about how important it is to listen to elders, to consult with them, to do something out in the open. Like this really encourages arranged marriage also, which is probably running out of fashion today, but it's so important. Because what do you think is the difference between arranged marriage and individuals making choices, generally speaking? Because this is something that's prevalent everywhere. What are the pros and cons? Anyone? Okay. Okay, let me run quickly because you're taking time. Yeah, also what
Arranged
the
marriage,
Bible.
more people are involved, like the
Yes,
pastor and
yes, yeah.
the
So they
elders
correct.
of the
So
family.
they are able to see the proposal from all angles. Sometimes just two individuals being in love can actually be a very blinding factor. It can really, people can be very emotional because they are only deciding, they are thinking. But here are 10 people thinking for you. They know you well, they know what your needs are, and they can make. So basically, one person taking a decision and 10 people taking a decision, 10 people may be more wiser. Of course, sometimes they have differences, but if they are godly people, it's always better. So that's also something to really think about. Yeah. All right. Now, And also, what study has shown that many love marriages afterwards, it kind of becomes very this, but arranged marriages have a good rate of more survival also. That is not to say that I'm saying, but it's just to something. But it's not just about marriage, it's about how we live today in this world, isn't it? Are we not very individualistic people? Are we community minded people? Or do you think today we are increasingly individualistic? What is your answer? Yes, marriage has to be considered. Okay. Right. Yeah. Do you think we are individualistic or community minded people in today's time? Many of us, in the way we take our decisions. Anyone? I'm not talking about yourself, I'm talking about people around, Christians, the way they behave. Do you think they're individualistic or they're community minded? They think about everybody.
Individualist.
Yeah. Do you think our obedience or disobedience has an effect on other people also? Anyone? Our obedience or our disobedience, both, does it have an effect on other people also?
Yes.
Yeah, kids decide. Yeah, see, Sister Anne has really made a good point. Nowadays, kids decide. Parents are following the kids instead of kids following the parents, isn't it? It's become ulta. The carriage is before the horse. That's very true, Sister Anne. Yeah, it is too. Many parents are following their kids. They are not telling kids to submit, obey. That's not there. Worshipping, literally. Okay, so that's there. Yeah, so kids, so I'm saying, yeah. Do you think it is easier to, okay, now, let me, do you think it's easier to obey God in theory, but difficult to obey and submit to a fellow human being? What is easier for somebody to say, I am very obedient, I submit to God, or somebody to actually practice in comparison submission to a fellow human being and God? Because that's what, Ruth is submitting to Boaz, is submitting to a mother in law. Boaz is also submitting to the cultural norm. So, what is sometimes, what is more challenging? Living an individual life of following Christ, or living a life where you're following Christ, but you're submitting to others around you? What is difficult? Anyone? Okay. Come on. You are not going to be fined, or what's your answer? It is easier to obey God, but I'm saying in theory. No, do you think a Christian, I'm saying in theory, it is easy to say that I will obey God, but do you think a Christian will say that I will obey my brother or my elder in the church? Where do you think a Christian will find it easier to say that? I obey God is easier to say, or I will obey and submit to my elder, to my church, to my father, which is easier for people to say or think? Yeah, okay. Anyone? No? Okay. Now, there's a question. Now, Ruth came and lay at Boaz's feet. Okay. So many men would want, they would like that, women lying at my feet. So that's a sign of submission. Okay. Now, that was basically So, do you think, no, do you think most men want women to lie at their feet today? Okay, this is just a thing. Yeah, most men would probably grin and say, "Yeah, I want a submissive wife or partner." But the thing is, the question is, are you like Boaz? Okay. The second thing is, would Boaz also, do you, maybe it is easier to say women submit your, but do you know of any other husband who also went down to the feet of his wife in the Bible? There is a model of a woman going down to her potential husband's feet. But was there anybody else in the Bible, a husband, a man figure who went down to the feet of his wife? Anyone? Is reverse submission possible for a man to do that? Say, I'm your servant. Is that there in the Bible? Anyone? Hello. Mr. Anaga, Ronak, Mr. Mamta, Mrs. Jacob, Perry, and yeah, Sano, Mr. Marcus. Anyone? Is submission in the opposite possible? Do you know of any instance in the Bible where the man has gone down to the feet of his wife? Ahab. Whoa. I'm not really sure about that. Okay, yeah, but she was control, you could say. Yeah. Okay. How about, okay, how about Jesus Christ? Isn't it? When did Jesus submit or go down as a servant to his wife? When was that? Anyone? To the
Washing,
disciples. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, Ronak, correct. Washing the feet of his disciples. That was a symbol of the church, isn't it? So that's how Jesus showed that, right? So what's so difficult to say that, for that's a patriarchal culture. That is what women did to survive. Now times have changed and now it's mutual submission. Correct. Yeah, we also have to be willing to submit with the same humility as men also should be. Many women are raising up boys or men to be patriarchal, but they're not teaching them submission, and that's going to be very, very difficult, right? Humility is for everyone, not just for women. Submission is for everyone, not just for women. Yeah, for men also, right? Okay, let me now take you to another, maybe just a couple of closing questions. Yeah. Now, how would you say from the life of Ruth and Naomi is the life of a Christian? When you look at the journey of Naomi and Ruth, what would you say is life of a Christian? Like anyone? How do you think the pathway of a Christian life is? Do you think it's a smooth ride? No problems, no suffering? Huh? How do you think life is of a Christian, somebody whom God is using in His plan? How do you think their life is? Anyone? Is it a difficult question? From this book, what do we learn about the life of Christians? How is their life journey? Anyone? Is it so difficult to answer?
They stood like they carried each other's burden and then they accepted each other's
No, the question
like
is, what is the journey of a Christian life? when we look at the life of Ruth and Naomi? What is the journey like? Is it
From
a
nothing
very
to abundance.
to abundance? Is it a smooth ride?
It's
Is it
tough.
a no obstacle ride? Huh?
It is hard, tough challenges,
Hard, tough, yeah. Can we make a list of, okay, can we make a list,
loneliness.
yeah, can we make a list of setbacks that were there in the life of Ruth and Naomi from the very beginning? What was the first setback?
They have to shift their place because
Yeah,
of
correct. The
The
first setback
husband
is
died.
famine. They have to face a famine, and because of which they have to shift in a foreign land. That's there. What is the
and
second setback?
they face loved one when passed away. I mean,
Okay, how many deaths in the family?
3 males,
See,
all the
Okay,
males.
yeah, in how many years that is? Within how many years they face 3 deaths? Anyone? It's 10 years. In 10 years, correct, Sister Anne has answered. 10 years, 3 deaths. Imagine the husband dies and 2 sons, young sons, right before our eyes, two widows, 3 widows left in the family. All 3 women turn widows. Then Ruth and Naomi come back, and what Naomi says, I am bitter. Imagine the shame of coming back. Do you know how many people, youngsters, people, men, women go abroad to make a life? And do you know how difficult it is for them to come back as a failure to India? Yeah, so she comes back, she says, I went full, but now I've come back empty. What does she say? Don't call me Naomi, call me what?
Mara.
Mara,
Mara.
bitter.
Bitterness.
The staring of people, what people are going to gossip about us, say the shame. She swallows it. She says, yes, I am Mara now, because the Lord's hand is against me. And then what happens? There is some hope, that, oh, now Boaz is there. And then, and what is the future in front of them? Is it a secure future before they meet Boaz? It's a very insecure life. They don't know what is going to happen again. There are 2 widows coming back. But once Boaz comes, then Ruth goes, and they think now something is going to happen. Now some connection will come about. But what does Boaz say? No. He says, no, it's not so easy. The kinsman redeemer has it's his right first. Right? So there is disappointment, there is suspense, again uncertainty. Yeah? That's what is there now. Are you ready for this in your life? I'm saying. What is your life expectation of how your life should go? Isn't it? Do you think one can expect as a Christian, as a follower, a very blessed, secure, smooth life here and there also? Is that fair? What has Jesus said about this life here on earth? Huh? What has Jesus said about this life here on earth for those who follow him? Anyone? Anyone? I'm so sorry for breaking the bubble. Anyone? In this,
You will have troubles, but
you
take
will have
heart.
troubles. Yeah, you will have troubles. There'll be, of course, persecution, but there'll be the natural suffering also. It comes. Yeah. The world will hate you. And it's not a perfect life. People will fall sick, die, people lose job, COVID will come, everything, accidents will happen, everything. It's just how it is. But through all of this, God will be leading. Wasn't God leading them in all that suffering? God was leading them. So please examine what is your expectation of how your life should progress? Is it realistic? Is it even biblical? And how do you see God when one disappointment takes place? You're setback after setback, famine, first death, second death, third death, coming back in shame, nothing, just going to live as beggars. But God was leading them in all that suffering. Yeah, not that God was causing that, because it was their own decision to go away. But in all that suffering, God is coming and participating in our faults and mistakes and trying to lead us forward. Very, very important. Yeah. And then finally, what is the union of Ruth and Boaz pointing towards? What future event it is pointing towards? The union of Ruth and Boaz. What does it point towards? What future event? Anyone? What is it a symbol of?
The birth of Christ.
Fulfillment of the covenant.
Fulfillment of, yeah, you could say the second coming. Definitely it shows Jesus is our kinsman redeemer. Yeah. In what way? How is Ruth and us compared? Ruth was from where was she?
Moab.
Yeah. Anybody else? She was a Moabite. Yeah. And she was what? Moabites were enemies. She was from the enemy camp. How is that common with us? We were also enemies of God.
Yes.
We were sinners. We were not from God's camp, but we were reconciled. We were brought together by His grace. Yeah. And what's amazing is see the grace. Ruth Moabite and Boaz, who was he a son of? Who was he a son of? He was a son of Rahab, the prostitute who brought in Joshua's spies, the spies who were sent, Joshua and the spies, yeah. So prostitute son, but turned out to be so virtuous. He and Ruth, and their names, they're written where in the Bible? Both of their names, they're written where?
Genealogy of Christ.
Genealogy.
Of Jesus Christ in Matthew chapter 1. Amazing. In the hall of fame. What an honor. You might think of King David, but look where these two outcasts, Boaz being a son of a prostitute, Moabite, and coming together. And of course, the beautiful picture of Jesus as a kinsman redeemer who redeemed us with his blood, purchased us. Boaz put Ruth and Naomi from poverty into his richness, from no family into his own family. And that's what Christ has done for us. It's so beautiful. That we never stop appreciating what a beautiful picture of Ruth. The story of Ruth is about us, how it is showing the story of our salvation is there in this. This is like a reflection of, this is actually the shadow of what is coming, what has been fulfilled to us. So let's not forget that we are like Ruth. We are blessed and glorious, yeah, in the eyes of all creation and all angelic beings. We do not know in what place of privilege we are, but perhaps we behave sometimes like Naomi in that place, isn't it? Still in that past and bitterness and anger. But God has already changed our position, and we need to rejoice and celebrate it. Praise the Lord. Praise Jesus Christ, our kinsman redeemer, who has saved us, who has rescued us from poverty, spiritual poverty, into his glorious richness. Who has married us, his church, who has given us his name, who has made us part of God's household. Praise the Lord. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. That was the story of Ruth, the book of Ruth complete. We'll meet next Wednesday for Ash Wednesday service when the Lent begins. Okay. Bye, everyone. God bless you.
Bye. Good
Good
night.
night. Thank you so
Bye.
much.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.